Okay, it's starting. Hello and welcome everyone back to Crash Bandicoot. It's me, James.
And me, Mary. Let's go.
Yeah.
Alright. Alright.
Alright.
Crash Bandicoot!
Well, last time we completed the game.
Alright. Great job, team. Let's all go home. I know, there's more to it.
Unfortunately, there is.
You'd think people who play and indeed stream games would go, wow, there's more, not, oh god, there's more.
Unfortunately, the more we're talking about is the red gem.
There's only one red gem. However, I don't actually know if there only is one red gem.
However, it's extremely difficult.
It's going to take us 4 hours to complete this one level.
Hopefully not. Well. Ah, dang it. Okay, there we go. This is apparently how the gems worked in the original game. Having to do all the levels in one go, essentially. Not sure if there were colored gems in the original, where you just needed a certain number of gems. Oh boy. Okay. Alright, back to this point. That scientist was thrown into the stratosphere? Yeah, it was. Oh, right, this. Oh boy. Whoops. Ah. That's okay. That strategy doesn't work. That is sort of jumping away from the box as it explodes. Oh hey! I got it.
And that scientist exploded. I think he's dead now.
I mean, we fought him earlier, so yeah.
Yeah, I suppose. He'll be back. He must have an extra guy.
I did it again. Okay. This is like one mechanic that was left out of Crash games after this first one. Ah. Hey.
Crash Bandicoot's like, go away, I'm not going to help you escape from prison.
Crash is sinless, but does not help others who have sinned.
Yes. In this way, he will never achieve enlightenment.
If Crash was there when Jesus said, who is without sin can cast the first stone," he would have killed everyone.
We just keep killing until everyone in that crowd was dead. Like,
That was close.
yeah. No. No, no, no.
This is why knowledge exists.
I'm genuinely surprised you're not dead from doing that.
Well, I still had a hit point. Nope. And jumped way too early. Did it without getting hit this time. Oh.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, now you're left without that extra space of reach. Oh, there we go. You can actually do it off that. Alright, good. So that might actually be the safer way to play that one.
Yep.
I'm not saying this run is doomed to failure, but I'm saying it's been rough going so far. And you know, might as well optimize your route.
God
Okay.
damn it. Wow. Wow, that's...
So, yeah,
I
it
can't
just
believe
sucks
it.
that it doesn't give you an option to just say, hey man, I'm doing a red gem run, like, you start the level.
No, I should keep doing this until I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, so Crash Bandicoot is ontologically like incapable of sinning. He doesn't know that he does wrong. On the other hand, Bubsy the cat knows he's done wrong and revels in it.
Oh yeah.
He smoked from the cigarette pack of knowledge of good and evil. Whereas Crash Bandicoot never eats any, like, fruits. So he has not eaten the fruit of knowledge.
Wait, then what are
He just
those?
collects them.
Oh.
He just collects them. There's a difference. You never see him eating them.
Crash goes to hit then because he went to Nintendo headquarters with a microphone. I think you mean, what's it called? Megaphone. But yeah. That actually was an ad.
Yeah. Yeah, this was back during the console wars. Well, sort of. It was like 90s for a lawless period where people would just make ads for their video game mascot where they would just like kill other people's video game mascots. You just
Yeah.
don't see that anymore.
That sort of persisted a bit in the 2000s, but after a certain point, yeah.
Yeah, it's a 90s, early 2000s thing. Yeah, because that was the era where everybody had a mascot for their mascot platformer, you know?
Yep.
And then that genre kind of fell by the wayside.
Yeah, mainly because of the HD era. Granted, it was on its way out, but God, the HD just did so much to video games.
Oh, okay. Got to wait for him to respawn. There he is. Let's kill him again.
Oops. Well,
Oh no.
she does know sin, but she's actually a good person.
That's the difference between them, you know?
Yeah. Crash is a terrible person, but does not know sin.
Yeah.
Why are we blaming TV revolutions for the relevance of a game genre? Well, bear in mind when I say the HD era, I don't. What I mean is sort of. Fuck.
I mean, I don't really think any interpretation of that really tracks. I think it's more that the emergence of like 3D as the thing that every game needed to have kind of killed off mascot platformers, at least. Until, you know, as things do, it cycled back around and they became retro. Like, I wouldn't call Mario 64 a mascot platformer, even though, by definition, it probably is. It's a 3D platformer with a mascot in it, so...
Basically, the time of when like Xbox 360 and PS3 came out, games got like way more expensive and took way longer to produce.
Oh yeah, the AAA games thing is like, yeah, studios kept sinking more money into, well, every game they made, really. Because back in the 90s, you could build a whole, like, successful franchise out of just, like, two guys coding on the same keyboard in Glasgow. Just, like, in a dingy little flat.
Yeah.
No, that is more of a UK than like US thing. The Amiga mascot platformers. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of factors at play when, like, talking about why you didn't tend to see this type of game as much anymore. It's not in the same sense. Like, there were 3D games where it's just like, look at this cool new character, we're gonna make a franchise and a Saturday morning cartoon and everything, and just beyond the 90s, he didn't really take off. And we have really cycled round again to the point where it's like, well, now it's acceptable to just make, you know, simpler games. At least you get the... Sorry, I'm kind of just rambling on at this point. I'll admit that I have had, like, barely any sleep this week, so that's probably why.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the console wars, like as a concept, kind of stopped really being a thing around, like, this, well, around the time of, like, yeah, the transition between PS1 and PS2, really. Like, you had Xbox and PlayStation and God, what Nintendo one was even on offer? But it wasn't this like, we're gonna show Mario getting killed by Sonic in this ad. And I know I'm saying getting killed by, it's more of a, oh, your mascot's lame, here's the cool new one with attitude. It really was how things were marketed back then.
I'd say the console wars ended once things got
A
ported
jam.
over a lot.
Yeah, I suppose that would be another aspect of that is, yeah, there's a lot more games where just it's ported to all consoles, so you can go, oh well, this is exclusive to this console. All right.
No, I never have to do it again.
Lights out. Yeah. 2020s is a bit late to say, oh, that's when the console wars ended. That's like last combatant in the console wars found living in a forest off the in an island off the coast of Japan like 20 years later. But like, depending on how you define it, like, you know, you know what? Let's actually see console wars. Like, arguably, people are still doing this today, but like, you're not getting Genesis does what Nintendo don't. You're just getting people going, you know, no, I have the better console, and just leaving it at that. I wonder if I can find any actual. Like, arguably, there are rivalries between individual console fandoms, but it feels like less of a thing these days. Maybe it's just part growing up. Since me and James were up in the 90s, of course we'd go, oh, it's Sega, Nintendo, and Sony that were the rival ones.
God.
Yeah.
Okay, I just remembered. Okay. So, thing I remembered was there's a YouTube channel called Navigator, and like
Oh, gaming in the Clinton years.
yes, that is a show they
Sorry. I
host.
know, there's more shows than just that. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
yeah. And
Yeah,
like
anyway, continue.
that wasn't the show's original name. That's the name that the channel gives it. The original name was Flights of Fantasy. And like they did game reviews and they were just so bizarre.
Yeah.
And like they did a video comparing Mario 64 and Resident Evil as like, oh, these are the games that people will compare and stuff
They're
with.
completely incomparable, you know?
Yeah, they thought that was a good comparison to make. Nice.
Yeah.
Way less painful.
Seeing people turn Mario, and specifically Mario 64, into a horror game, I've never seen people turn Resident Evil into a mascot platformer. It could happen.
It should
There's that
happen.
mouse girl. Yeah. Hmm.
This looks like something I should be able to interact with, but probably not.
Yeah, no, it just looked like you're jumping level geometry there. But yeah, there's a reason why people, make jokes about Navigator and specifically gaming in the Clinton years, and me and James probably both came across this at first from Retsupre doing videos about it, where there's such winning videos as one where the reviewer complains that there's just no originality in Tomb Raider games anymore, and they should give Lara Croft cancer and have the whole game be about her dealing with this.
That's not a joke or an exaggeration.
It's not a joke. This,
Oh.
this is what he says, and it's completely deranged.
Yeah. He makes a joke about Laura Croft's breasts and then says that she should get breast cancer.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So... what game was it? He said, if you don't like this game, you are stupid.
Donkey Kong Country.
I think it might be Donkey Kong, yeah. It's just like... It's a good game. You don't have to be like that. So, like, years after seeing the Retro Prey videos about it, I like watched a Let's Play of, I think it's Shadowgate is the game. Like the it's like a point and click adventure kind of thing, and the, the little theme song at the start isn't an original jingle for that show. It's just from that game, and I didn't know that. Do, 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 do. Let me see if I can find Shadowgate. But it is just that song from Shadowgate. Yeah. Wikipedia has like an article on console wars as like a concept, and the Sega versus Nintendo console war kind of ended with the arrival of PS1. I think that's what they're saying.
Well, Sega kind of defeated itself in that instance.
Sega left the home console hardware business in 2001. Yeah, that was the Dreamcast. Despite having a lot of features that would become standard in years to come, it was too ahead of the game in some respects and just didn't catch on. Like, they were trying to pioneer online gaming at a point where a lot of households didn't really have the internet. So it became extremely costly and impractical, and yeah. It's a fascinating era of gaming now. There's other console wars, Sony versus Microsoft, Atari versus Intellivision, yo, vintage there. Can I make this joke plan? Yeah. So, like, the console wars, like the one me and James were thinking of, yeah, that whole thing as a concept was well on its way out by the early 2000s. But rivalries between owners of other consoles, obviously, yeah, did actually continue on. People are still doing that today for some reason. It's very funny to see, yeah, the 2020s were when the console wars ended, and it's like, I don't think there's any definition that would really make that work. I think you need to. Alright, yeah. I was gonna say, you probably need to spit into that one. But I forgot. You can go into the background. Oh no. You need to go back and break the box that let you jump into them. Oh, wait, was
Oh,
that box?
fuck. I think I might.
Ah. I'm like going, wait, did we even use a box to get there? Well, it's easy enough to check once you're behind it. Like, if not, then you just shrug and head back. Yeah, that would have actually disqualified you. Oh no. So now you do actually have
Oh.
to go through here. Oh no.
Thankfully, we don't need to reset.
Alright, this isn't a do it in one life thing. This is just a break everything.
Well, thankfully that didn't have any boxes. This is the one with boxes. That fucking... That's a big gap.
Oh. Yeah, speaking of console wars, remember the band Eiffel 65 who were kind of a one-hit wonder? Their song, you know, blue da ba da da ba dee da ba da.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, one of their other songs at the time, which was not as big a hit, but like it's the one people sometimes remember, is My Console, a song that's just them listing off the titles of PS1 games. Console, iPhone 65 lyrics. Tekken 3, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil, Gran Turismo, Mega Boost, Bloody Roar, X-Files, Another World. Come on. And then just spelling out PlayStation. Oh my god.
I think the guys who did I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt did a song about Sonic the Hedgehog.
That'd be right. Said Fred, I think?
Yeah.
Wonder Man is a pop song about Sonic the Hedgehog by English band Right Said Fred. Huh. I do not remember this song at all. I'm gonna have to listen to a bit of it to see.
Wow, the perspective on that.
Alright. The video does indeed have Sonic on it. Oh. The 90s.
There was time for clacks.
And for clacks?
There's this game called Clacks, and it's...
I know what clacks is. Like, what an odd thing to say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but for people who don't know,
For the uninitiated.
there's this game called Clacks. It's a Tetris...
The puzzle
like,
game.
yeah. Where...
You have like little tiles flipping their way down from the top of the screen in a like semi 3D way. You build piles of them.
yeah, and you match the colors.
Yeah.
And it starts with, it is the 90s and there is time for Clacks.
I don't remember that, despite having played Clacks. So, it's probably because I remember playing it on... Is that the Lynx or the Game Gear that I played it on? I'm genuinely like... I can't remember which one of those handhelds. So, I had two sets of cousins, one on each side of the family, obviously. One group of cousins had a Game Gear, one of them had a Lynx. Just by a weird coincidence. Which is where my main experience with those handhelds comes from. And even in the short time I had to play the Game Gear, I'm like, man, this thing has no battery life.
Yep.
Because they focused on getting the most, like, the best graphics they could on a handheld at the time, except that sacrificed so much battery life. Like, this thing would need 4 AA batteries and run, what, 2 hours?
Good thing they don't make consoles like that anymore.
Yeah,
she said knowingly.
yeah. Because the Game Boy, on the same amount of AA batteries, you were getting like a day worth of playing the game. Which, that obviously was a lot more pressing for a handheld console at the time. And it's in part that battery life that led to the Game Boy's longevity as a handheld. It meant that they could do like more genres of games that you could actually feasibly play through. Hence the huge amount of RPGs that were either exclusive to the Game Boy or that, had their most memorable versions be on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, did I die?
I don't know. Is it... You saw those boxes broken? Is that good enough? Just continue?
Guess not. Or I guess I did die.
Oh yeah, Clax was an Atari game, so it's very likely the Lynx that I played it on. So I'm looking at it, and no, I don't think it was released in... Oh, it was released in the Game Gear, so no, that doesn't actually clear this up. Ah.
Oh, looks like she's not even bothered by being in the water. Whereas Crash dies instantly. She just... eh. Rolling Stones. Damn, they are right. They don't gather any algae. I realize that's a SpongeBob version of that quote. It's Rolling Stones gathers no moss normally.
Yeah, that is how the saying originally goes. I just never watched much SpongeBob growing up, so it's like, oh, James must be mistaken about this quote. And it's like, no, it's just from a TV show that was very popular at the time that I just didn't care for.
Ah, crap. Okay, I managed to hit it.
Alright, I think you got it, yeah. Could have been a disaster, but here we are.
Oh, I think I blew up a box with this hit with a face on it. They stopped when I die.
Yeah, it feels pretty unavoidable that any Crash Bandicoot stream will just have us talking about 90s nostalgia. Like, way more so than if we, say, streamed a Sonic or Mario game, even though, you know, all those are of the same era. And I still haven't actually watched at least enough of that one show to get context for why they have Rayman, like, swearing and, you know, getting in fights. and eating sushi off someone's body. I don't quite know what was going on in the clips I've seen of that show.
There it is.
Like, Rayman is another one of these. Like, so Rayman did actually stick around for quite a bit, and then the developers, like, kind of got obsessed with the Rabbids, and then went, we're not making any Rayman games, we're just making things with these guys.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite get that, but, like, sure, okay.
God, they were the minions before the minions.
Yeah, they really were. Like, I just never got the appeal there.
Do you think the rabbits know sin?
They are the embodiments of sin.
Yeah. Should absolutely stream Final Fantasy X sometime.
Oh. Final Fantasy X. I mean, it's a fairly lengthy game, but, like, we've done longer ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, So, I briefly guested on one of Madam Universe's, it, like, like, what was she even doing on these streams? I think she was just doing old Dreamcast games in this one. And she was streaming a bit of Shenmue, and the dialogue in that is very stilted, and, like, the line recordings feel kind of amateurish, even when they're, like, you know, people who would go on to be professional voice actors. And I went, well, of course it's like that. That was the early era of fully voiced games, like, being a thing that, you know, it just wasn't done on that level before that point. Like, other games on the console usually didn't have full-fledged conversations between characters where they were actually, like, directly reacting to each other. It was just like, oh, the narrator talks and that's it, or, like, announced or whatever for fighting games. Wow. She's just gone. Anyway. Like, Final a fair bit after that era, and still stilted at points, but you can see a qualitative difference in the, like, directing of the, like, voice actors there. As in, it's actually starting to be directed like a movie.
Yeah.
And yes, this did increase the cost of doing this.
Of course.
Which is why a lot of indie games, even when aping the style of the time, don't go in for, like, a lot of voice acting, and if they do, it's, you know, usually not on the level of what you get from professional voice actors. Because it turns out, yeah, that takes a lot of money, time, and expertise.
Yeah, also,
And at the time of Shenmue, oh, go ahead.
a lot of the voice actors in Final Fantasy X were, like, voice actors you would hear on Cartoon Network stuff at the time.
Yeah. And, you know, they were people who did professional voice acting, even if, like, it can, like, there, at that point, there had been enough cross-pollination between between, like, recording voice acting for a cartoon and for a video game that, like, it doesn't come across as, wow, this is really amateurish. It's like, oh, there are some bits that stick out as being a bit weird, but you know, like the laughing scene, which, you know, back in the days of Shenmue, that's like the Dreamcast, which, as we said before, that, that's really early 2000s. There just wasn't that expertise in the video games industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, there were games that had voiced lines in them, and even a handful of games that were fully voiced. I mean, it had FMV games in the 90s, but, you know, you try and tell me that any of those seem professional, and a lot of them just look laughably dated and amateurish.
Yeah. They called that era Sillywood for a reason.
Yeah. And, you know, obviously video games like were and still are an evolving medium, and it's, you know, it's just at that time there genuinely wasn't the industry knowledge to go, oh, okay, this line just sounds awkward because there's a gap between this character saying this and this other one replying. Or like the emotion in this voice is wrong. I mean, come on. Even at the time of Oblivion, you were getting, oh, we're just gonna give the voice actors their lines in alphabetical order, and you know, not give them any directing as to what kind of emotion meant to be portraying. And so that entire game's voice acting is kind of insane.
Yeah, you have the you ask a lady about rumors, and her voice acting suddenly is different because, well, before she was like
Suddenly
an old,
the voice actor.
yeah. Before she was like an old beggar begging for money, and then she talks like a professional woman who's like not begging for money, and like,
Yeah. I mean, my favorite one of that in Oblivion is the one NPC you can talk to who, like, on a particular line, reads out the line, mispronounces something, goes, wait, I'll do that again, and then says the whole thing again, and it's clear that she's, like, doing another take and they didn't realize it. He's put in the voice line without listening to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
There was a line in Sonic 06 where that happened,
Yeah.
but Sonic
I mean,
06...
come on, it's Sonic 06. It's legendarily rushed. They did not have the time for quality control.
Sonic 06 had better voice acting.
Yeah. Sonic 06, on the whole, like, the voice acting is still not atrociously terrible for the time. It's, there's a lot of things in the script that could have done with another pass, and, you know, it really needed more time to cook overall, but people are actually kind of less down on plot elements from it at this point.
Yeah.
Like, Silver is a perfectly fine character when he's written well.
Yeah.
And people like being disparaging about him were just like, well, the game doesn't really make him work that well.
Oh, great. Oh. Just lurched for a second.
Alright, let's ride the platform.
Oh boy. Wasn't anywhere near the fire. Anyway, we go to Wampa Fruit Heaven. Huh. That's weird.
Fruit heaven now.
Alright, that's 20. Up the creek. I'm guessing with the paddle? Huh, I'm slightly wet. Well, I guess I did. There it goes. Oop. The monkey sent me to heaven. Again. Being killed by a monkey automatically sends you to heaven. That's why they're so bloodthirsty. Okay. That was weird. The physics on that monkey are just not working right. Okay. Huh. bonus. Ugh. Eventually, enough falling deaths will have the corpses piled up so high that I can just go into the pit and jump back out very quickly.
Yeah. Pretty sure that happens in at least a couple of Bob and George strips.
No, not Bob and George. Because no one dies in Bob and George.
No, there's the Ran, the robot who keeps dying and respawning, and it's like, well, we could just get a ton of like dead bodies here.
Okay, yeah, Rand is that, but
Like, technically, the character's still alive. There's a lot of robot corpses in every storyline he's in, because
yeah.
that's the joke.
Road to Nowhere. It's this level. A level a lot of people hate. Oops! Boy, did I hit that wrong. I wasn't entirely sure how to wait. Wow, that was pathetic.
Sorry, I've been quiet for a bit because in another server, like, there's a discussion going on. Oh.
How do I set that box off? Okay. I guess you have... Oh, never mind then. Huh.
Hi, hi.
Hey. Got the red gem.
More of the... Oh, nice. Glad we're playing more of the Coco Bandicoot series.
Yep.
Oh, that was close. Yeah, let me... I should probably go Rebagel.
Bagel.
Free bagel. Oh, and also open
Hey,
up the
Kitty.
YouTube. Hi, hi.
Yeah. Oh, I was just about to explain why I hadn't spoken for a bit.
Ah, crap.
It's because in another server that I'm in, like, someone is talking about their ideas for a card game, and
Oh.
the topic of Weiss Schwartz, the like crossover anime card game came up, but also like I went, yeah, I was so deep in the Bushiroad mines, I could tell you about Dragoborn or Luck and Logic, and then I got like, what the hell is Luck and Logic? And I got hit by the auto mod, like you're not allowed to post anything until a moderator has approved this post that you've made. Because I said, you know, the horny fried chicken eating anime girl gif is from.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is the word horny apparently like tripped up auto mod, and we don't know why.
Oh my goodness.
And I just got told, okay, I don't know what you were talking about. You can post the GIF and you won't get banned. to their immediate regret. And it's like,
Oh. That fucking gaff. That's... You know what? There's a lot of times people abuse the phrase, the authors, like, or the writers barely disguise fetish or something. But, like, this
if
would
you've
also
seen
be
that
one of
GIF,
them, because it's not disguised.
yeah. So, there's a server I'm in which has an explicitly stated rule: do not post the chicken eating GIF from Luck and Logic. We will ban you. This is not a joke. Which is a very funny holdover from that server's earlier incarnation. It's like a card game server. And it's like, you know what, we're gonna keep the rule for historical reasons.
Yeah?
But yeah, this is just like... I was getting express permission to post it, and it's like, no, okay, you know what, maybe I shouldn't have given you that permission. Like, if you've seen this particular GIF, yes, it is from a card game anime. Yes, there were only 2 sets of this card game ever made.
Oh my god. I forgot about that part.
And it was, like, it's a card game that was considered the too like too absurdly horny and cringe for Weiss Schwartz players, which is like, damn, that's a low bar to clear.
Too horny? God. Like,
there's some perspective, like, they announced the game and like showed off 1 or 2 cards, and it's like, oh, okay, this game looks pretty interesting. Like, there's some chatter about, yeah, actually, I see what they're doing here. There's some interesting mechanics going on here. And then the next like 4 or 5 promo cards were the various members, the you know, obviously, yeah, like teen girls in the cast, all in swimsuits at best. And it's like, ha.
uh,
And it kind of went downhill from there.
yeah. What? God.
There's a reason that this is a universally derided card game.
Yeah, which is I remember an ex-girlfriend talking about going to tournaments and seeing people with like playmats.
Yeah, the naked anime girl playing.
Yeah,
that
like,
you
just
always
straight up
saw
naked.
The Weiss Schwartz. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I never took part in a Weiss Schwartz tournament, but like,
Bullet
since I
dodge.
played Buddy Fight, I would be like one table over from those going, dude, what the hell?
You were affected by the radiation.
Yeah. There's a post on Tumblr that's like everything a light touches is our kingdom, said the Card Fight Vanguard player. It's like, what's that over there? That is the Darklands. Do not go there. And it's like describing a Weiss Schwartz tournament. I'm gonna see if I can find that post actually, because I would 100% have reblogged that.
Nice.
Yeah. When even Weiss Schwartz players are like, hey man, too far, you know you've done something wrong.
Oh yeah.
Let's see.
Cat's here. She.
Oh,
Yay.
here we are.
How's the kitty?
Yeah. It's the post that starts, Weiss Schwartz is the scariest game invented. And my comment is just this. Yeah, it's about the same for Luck and Logic. But like, this is a post made in 2017, when that card game still existed for a very brief time.
Yeah, look, give me a minute.
Weiss Schwartz had the staying power, at least.
Yeah.
Still pouring one out for Dragoborn. That served a lot more than it got. It was the marketing that kind of hobbled it. Like, it went, oh, it's a card game, but you roll dice for your effects, and no, that's not actually fundamentally what the game was. Like, people were going, oh yeah, there's obviously going to be too much variance in it, who to play that, but it was actually done in a very, like, intelligent way, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, there's some interesting systems going on in this game. And you could lean into the dice thing, or you could just ignore it entirely.
Neat.
A lot of the time, like, you were picking what the dice was, and it's like, your opponent was guessing what you've picked. And it's like, okay. Like, I can vibe with that. Like, Netrunner managed to make that interesting.
Oh, Netrunner. Now I should really try to get into the fan made site or whatever to play the game, because for those who don't know, I don't know if it was like within the card game community considered like the best thing ever or anything like that, but I played a little bit of it and it was actually really cool, really fun, really thematic.
Interesting asymmetric, like, living card game is another part of it.
Yeah.
It had a very unusual theming with the whole cyberpunk thing and being like, well, like hackers trying to hack into like a corporation's servers. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on with it.
Yeah,
and
and
the sorry, go
then
ahead.
uh, yeah, I still remember when I was living with my now ex-girlfriend of hearing the news of it dying because I think like Hasbro owned like the
Yeah, they
actual like
owned it and they were like, well, we don't want two
the
Cyberpunk
IP.
properties going in at once, and we're going to promote Cyberpunk 2077. And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Y- you don't see how these would like mutually boost each other's sales? Like, no, get squished.
Good. Yeah, it
Oh, the
was
place is small and
maddening.
flat. Yeah, and it's
Uh, like especially since like Fantasy Flight Games were the ones making uh, uh God, I'm blanking. Netrunner.
yeah,
It had the subtitle. Like, and the reason was because that was the Fantasy Flight stuff that they added in there because it was originally a board game from Hasbro,
yeah.
like ages ago, and they bought the rights to it. But yeah,
Yeah, Netrunner was a more traditional, like, collectible card game back in the day. Android Netrunner was
that was
the
it.
more modern incarnation, and so it took place in the Android universe. Like, that was just the setting name. And specifically, like, in setting, that's because androids weren't just like they're not just robots. They are robots, clones, genetically engineered beings. Uh, and it was more of the like abstract sense of like an artificial person rather than, you know, just being specifically one type of it. And so that ends
Yeah.
up with actually having a lot of cool lore behind it. And there's a fair amount of tie-in novels that are actually fairly good. Like, they're pretty competent sci-fi in their own right.
Yeah. God. Oh, actually, I should look those up then. But yeah,
Oh,
it's
I'll find one of them.
nice.
Android Netrunner. What's this one called? Oh, I know I've got this somewhere.
Uh, that's it. I
Yeah,
remember
I'm
the.
gonna. Sorry, I'm gonna go look through my Amazon library and go, okay, I must have bought it from here, so I'll find what book you're talking about.
All right. Yeah, just I still remember the podcast. Me and the XGF like learned the news from, kind of talking about like, you know what? Like, it sucks that it's Android Netrunner is gone, but like hopefully the fans will keep it alive, and thankfully they have. There's
Right.
like a whole website that you can like build decks and everything. So
There's
so
still
that's cool.
fan-made sets
Oh
and,
yeah,
you
fan made
know,
sets too.
tournaments.
Yeah. Um, but also, one person's like, no, what though? I'm glad it was able to die young and leave behind a beautiful corpse rather than stagnate forever. And I'm like, no, I can kind of see that because I can only imagine there's so many things that do just kind of keep going forever.
Right. Apparently the one I was thinking of was a book called Android Freefall. Which is like that's a book set in that universe. I'm like, yeah, I remember reading this and actually being pretty good.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, it's like the setting really did lean into the like anti-capitalist, like, you know, runners trying to, you know, eke out an existence in a cruel, like, dystopia run by hyper-capitalist corporations. And so you had this whole thing about, like, you know, the constant fight for rights for all of these like unambiguously like sentient beings, even if they were artificial, you know. There was a lot going on, and it was good cyberpunk.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find a link to. Well, you can get this on Amazon or something. But I'm just gonna like. Yeah, apparently this is the first one based on that setting, but it's like they released plenty more. Like there's a fair few of those.
Oh, nice.
Any boxes here? Yes. Stop biting.
Oh no, the kitty's biting.
I know I've read other ones from here, but I don't seem to have them. Did I get them on another site? I genuinely couldn't tell you.
Well, that's fair. Oh, and for like anyone wondering who never played the game or seen any of the fiction, it's really great how like the themes like shine through like the cards and the decks.
Yeah.
Damn cat opened the thing.
Oh no.
Yeah. Like
Uh,
the cards in it are so strongly themed. It's like you get a real like sense of the identities of runners and corps just from like the cards they can play.
oh yeah. Great. Let me look up the name of it. I know one, like their whole like vibe is like if you're playing the corks, right? Like you set up like servers and on those servers you can work on projects and that's how you get the points to like win. But you can also set up traps to like if the runner like access it, like I've I fought through the defenses, I have access to the project, yippee, and then it's like oh no, there's assassins trying to break my legs now, right?
no,
Or like they fried my
you've just
gear.
downloaded a virus. Oh no.
Yeah.
Like you've given away your location, and now the corp can just burn down your house.
Yeah. It's there's one like corp that was like their like initial deck has so many trap options. It's like almost comedic. It's like, hey, how am I gonna win? Like I keep drawing all these trap options. Oh
it's
no.
Probably Jinteki.
Yeah,
the
Jinteki.
one who
That's the
gets
one.
Snare and Shock and all of the other like one-word things that are really like vicious trap cards. And that's kind of their thing. Like they're all about direct damage and direct trap damage, I suppose, and
Yeah.
being probably the trickiest of the corp decks, like as a whole. Just they're the ones who basically force you into games of rock, paper, scissors, or who redirect you to be hacking a different server than the one you planned to be.
Yeah.
And, they're themed around like genetic engineering, psionics, all of this other wild stuff.
Yeah. Like all these corps are like unethical, but they are like the most unethical.
Yeah, they're the ones who bring their like clones to the like android like umbrella of artificial beings. Like they have a lot of cards related to like what that means. Like creating basically a slave caste by cloning the same people over and over again, and having well, actually when clones outlive their like useful lifespan of a few years, we send them off somewhere nice to retire, and there's like an agenda called clone retirement, and it's like clearly the theming of it is, well, it's a euphemism. They just kill the clones. They just, like, have a handful of them to go, oh no, actually, these ones are all living on a nice farm somewhere. And if the hacker gets this, like, the corp gets so much bad publicity. I think, is that the one? It's like such a huge deal if you steal it.
That's okay.
Clone retirement. I might be thinking of like 2 different cards here. Oh, when the runner steals clone retirement, the corp takes 1 bad publicity.
God, only one. Then again, the other
And,
megacorp.
you know, that is a lot of bad publicity in yeah.
Oh yeah, that is. I
Yeah.
kind of remember some of the mechanics. I remember like the general shape of things.
Yeah. So, Ken Express Tenma, like Ken Tenma is one of the playable runners. He is a clone, right? Like he's the type of clone who like were used for deliveries. Like, what if Amazon, like the corporation, just kept cloning you and used you to do all of their deliveries for free? And then he went, hey, wait a second, this sucks, and just left. Like, he developed enough of a sense of self to just steal his delivery vehicle and leave.
Nice.
And he's actually got a whole bunch of cards that are, you know, he's really good at doing the, like, rapid kind of, like, he's good at using the, like, event run cards, like the ones you're just like forcing a run immediately. But yeah, he obviously does not like Jinteki because he's a clone that they made and intended to just have killed at some point.
Yeah. Gosh.
And so he's in a lot of flavor text form.
Nice.
My main corporation was always NBN, an acronym that doesn't quite have a meaning, but it's like they're a news network corporation.
Yeah.
And they've got some really like, I mean, they've always been a very powerful faction to play, just because early sets gave them way too much good stuff. Or ever the early box set, like the starter set, gave them some of the best cards in the game, bar none. But like, my thing was, if you're hacking me, no, I'm hacking you now. You've got that agenda, but like, I know where you are, and I'm just gonna start messing around with your deck. I'm gonna, like, counter hack you during my turns. It's like,
That's good.
you can come into the server, but I'm never going to let you leave. And so they have, like, their trap cards don't immediately kill the runner. It's something like, it's stuff like the runner takes 2 tags or whatever. It's like, that means the corp knows where you are.
Yeah.
It's the one that's net runner NBN agenda is there's one which is blanking on the name of the card, but like the image is basically a Bitcoin, and it's like, here it is. Like, basically, it's an agenda that forces you to steal it if you find it, and this is actively detrimental to do. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
you found the Bitcoin, but you'll wish you hadn't.
the cursed Bitcoin. Also, good job, James, getting through that level.
Yeah, good job. Oh, round of applause.
Yeah, that one was kind of confused.
Looks like your collectathon is going well.
Sorry, had to click that one. Yeah, definitely one of the early series. Like, hey, if you want all the boxes, you have to go backwards, forwards, and backwards through this level. Have fun. But God. I had, sorry, to get back to Netrunner real quick. I also love how some of the ones even in the starter like set, like for the runners, like have a lot of like character. Like there's one guy who he's hacking purely for like mercurial, like for monetary gain, and he loves like giving himself cybernetics and all that. While there's another who like, I'm trying to remember her business, but I remember she's like more like also wants to like help people
Yeah,
and like go ahead.
And the starter set is, you're probably thinking of the one who's an artist.
Oh yeah, the
What's
artist
her name?
and her magnum opus.
Runner.
Which is such a good card.
I'm trying to remember what her name is. Alright, I need to go Android Netrunner. Yeah, it's a game that actually, it's like, it had a lot of variety in its characters as well. There's like all of the runners have very distinct identities.
Like, I think not in the starter set, but I think there was a runner whose whole thing was that like they were a journalist or something.
Yeah.
So like they purposely, I can only imagine they want to cause the corp to get as much bad publicity as possible.
Oh yeah, there is the one who does that, and that's such a weird one, like mechanically. Let's see. I know there's like at least a couple, like there's one who's definitely canonically non-binary, Quetzal. There's a couple of them who are implied to be gay, or like in at least one. Where is she? Ah, God, there's the one matron. I'm genuinely trying to remember. Like, there's basically one of them is she is actually hired by corporations to like run on their servers to test them. And so she's like a different type of runner from the rest of them entirely. And also, canonically, is a lesbian. Like, is married, has a kid. It's like, oh, that's nice.
Nice.
Runner DB. I'm blanking on her name.
Okay.
Something of
Who's that? Oh, okay.
But that's the same set that introduced her, also introduced Apex, the runner who is not, in fact, human at all, and is completely, like, an AI. Can't have any cards that, like, actually exist in the physical world. Like, that's a trade-off for playing as them.
Oh, that's neat.
And so they have some really bizarre support, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. And always appreciate just like how much variety there is in the characters here.
Oh yeah.
and there are a lot of them that didn't see much like tournament play, but people found ways to do fun things with them anyway.
Nice. See, I forget some of Hans Biodroid's deal, other than they're the guys making cyborgs.
Make robots basically.
Yeah, like they're like cyborgs.
Yeah, so almost all of their like server defenses are like really advanced AI stuff. They have literal like robots manning their like server defenses, and their whole thing is like forcing the runner to invest a lot of time, like give up actions in order to bypass them.
Oh yeah. Oh, and James, that TNT box didn't explode.
Yeah.
You jumped. It didn't explode before you hit that checkpoint.
Oh right, there's one runner who's a magical girl, and this is a
Ah, okay.
fan made one. This was one of the ones made in the I think called Nisu. God, are they? No, they they keep Null Signal Games. That's what they're called now. They renamed themselves a couple of times, and I'm like, damn, what did they call themselves? But I actually have a plush of her dragon.
Oh.
Gotta see if we can find. Like I have that on the shelf right next to me, so that works. I can just take a photo.
Nice.
I
Yeah.
thought of something funny.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's when you were saying one of the ones made in and for some reason my brain completed it to one of the ones made in the name of God.
Listen. God, I'm just like trying to angle this so I don't get a ton of like all the lighting from the monitors. Actually, let's switch monitors off for a second.
Huh? The name of God? That's so good.
Ye not guilty.
Rest in the name of God, not guilty. We have came to terms. Bingo. Yeah. I do have this plush, and I'm gonna. What's this cute dragon?
No.
So this is like official merch for the. Like, I got this at a convention, and I'm like, oh, this is adorable. It's a surprisingly good quality plush too, very soft. Well, aside from the little like, there's some claws and spine. Very huggable.
No, that's so
Yeah,
precious.
Toto.
The little buddy.
Yeah. Specifically, they added her to the like fan-made extension of it because legally speaking, like they can't make merch of like the previous character who had like a plush as their console, Chaos Fury. Because obviously she's owned by Hasbro. Like, they can keep making cards for the game, they're just not allowed to make merch that directly references the existing runners. This is a whole complicated thing. Like, Chaos Fury was a fan favorite for a long time because she's, you know. Oh, they've only got this art of her. Runner. Like, she's one of the most straightforward runners. She just has like more memory space because she always has her dinosaur with her. If you've seen the Netrunner comics I was reblogging earlier today, that's who's holding the little dinosaur plush in them.
Oh, nice.
But there's a like there's a card where the art is like basically that dinosaur exploding. It's like a cork card where it's like blowing up the runner's gear. I can't quite remember like what specific card that is, and so the artist of that card went, "Hey, you have to promise me the Dinosaurus gets fixed. Like, you can't just
No.
do that. Like, you can't make me draw this without doing that." And so, yeah, there's the the art in the like very final sets of the game where they're like tying up all of the like the final official ones. They kind of went, why is it showing that now? God, I'm now not able to find the more modern art where Dinosaurus is an eye patch because she's rebuilt it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted to have basically an equivalent character in the newer sets, so of course they just added this magical girl themed hacker. And like all of her hacking programs are like animal themed. It's like little animal knights or wizards or whatever.
Nice.
And they're her like animal companions or whatever.
Yeah.
They're just mascots. Where are we? Yeah, it's companion cards. Yeah, she's got just gonna post a bunch of them.
Excellent. No.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, here's an axolotl, like his little wizard.
Well,
Well.
I touched fire, and it didn't go well for me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. It's just, you know, I like that they're still doing interesting stuff with the design space they have, even if I haven't actually been able to line up the ability to actually play the game with the two cards.
Yeah.
I do appreciate what they're doing with it.
Oh yeah. Like, I guess it's something to look forward to whenever I finally have the time to sit down and really get into it. Cause yeah, it's just really cool. Love that the fans still care so much about it.
Yeah, I just, it's like, this is one blog where they're just going, what if Netrunner was a card game anime? And they just got runners playing
Oh boy.
like the actual card game.
OMG?
And I do like how they're drawing Chaos Theory there.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, just as a background thing in Netrunner, like, there's a lot of, oh, okay, there's a lot of diversity in characters in that, like, they're often from different countries or different ethnicities, and, like, Yeah, quite a few of them are queer. Chaos Fury has 2 dads. It's just like, this is normal in this world. That's not the,
Oh yeah.
like... There's still an emphasis on, you know, struggling for, like, people's rights and everything, but it's got a fairly diverse cast.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe I made that mistake twice.
Yeah, it's so good like that. Also, yeah, I'm so sorry. And also, hello, Fat. I can't read Arabic? Question mark?
Oh. Sorry, we have just been talking about a card game that not a lot of people played for the last half hour. Yeah.
It's a good card game, though.
It is a good card game. Like, it's genuinely one of those ones that makes me think about there's so much unexplored design space in asymmetric card games.
Yeah, which, you know, it's nice to think about that, I guess, in the sense where it's like, not like, you know, there's just that much more to explore, you know, in the future. If that makes any sense. Sometimes it can feel like, you know, for some games or genres or whatever, like, we've done it all.
Everything
Yep.
that can be invented has been invented. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like a guy who like ran the patent office or something said that, and it's like, man, you were saying this in the 1800s.
Oh yeah. Then again, you know, for that era, it also, yeah, it makes sense that someone would be that cocky about it. Like, obviously, we're so fucking great. We've already invented everything that will ever exist.
Yeah, there
You
are
know,
people. There were always incurious people.
Oh, apparently it's been debunked as apocryphal. Okay,
Oh, okay.
history marches on. It's
History
gonna
marches on.
actually link the Wikipedia page for this guy. There's a quote attributed to him, and it isn't like that isn't what he was saying, but people like misinterpreted it as that.
Uh,
Okay, where did I miss a box?
And
Uh-huh.
completed it with a joke from Punch magazine in 1899.
huh.
So okay, that explains that.
Yeah.
I guess this guy really wasn't, you know, as dismissive as he seemed. Well, it's not like I have to issue a formal apology to him. Like, this is just something I vaguely remember reading in a history book once, and then I'm like, no, turns out that's not actually correct.
Huh.
Maybe I should look at Steam, see if anyone has
You
any
know what?
suggestions.
Oh, yeah. Oh, James looking up for where the last box could be.
Where's that damn Four of Chaos
House
Emerald?
Emerald. Oh, that era of games of like, what if things were edgy? Like that was, you know, what brought us Jax 2, where like the first game he's a silent protagonist, and then second game gets kidnapped, tortured, experimented on, and you know they he finally gets rescued, and he's like, great. I forgot what exactly he says, but I know he says,
damn,
like,
that sucked. Never
Oh.
speaks again.
never speaks again. Huh? God. Huh?
Yeah, God, Jack and Daxter is such a weird franchise when it comes down to it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. I see where I missed it now. Okay. Yeah, okay. Fortunately, does mean I have to do the level over again.
Oh no?
At least it's not the red gem.
Yeah. No, it wasn't like towards like the very end, because I know there's like you were going on that like invisible path, and then there's like something closer to like the bottom of the screen that had like
No.
oh, huh.
Also, snakes cause her to pop like a balloon.
Everyone knows this. Know what? Speaking of Jack and Daxter, I just remember, I don't remember her name. Oh, but I know, like, Daxter basically gets a girlfriend, like an elf elf girlfriend, who eventually also gets transformed into the weasel thing.
Okay.
Because originally he was like a guy, he was just a normal guy.
For like 5 minutes, and then he gets transformed into this weird thing,
Yeah,
and he just stays like that forever.
yeah,
Oh, what?
And I'm like, yeah, okay.
right? And the best
Like,
part is,
who among us?
yeah, true. Especially since like, I believe the character that like became his girlfriend was like a voice acted by like I think like the spouse of one of the devs or something. Which is really
Yeah.
funny because it can't help but think of like, did she just have like a crush on the dude? Like, hey, you need to set me up with the funny little weasel guy.
It's like,
God. Dude.
I'm looking at the character list and TV tropes, and I'm going, man, I barely remember anything about this game.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, apparently, like, somewhere down the line, she wishes she had a pair of pants like Daxter's, and, like, someone goes, okay, wish granted, turns her into the exact same kind of animal as Daxter.
God.
I gotta see if I can find. Let me see if I can find her. Yeah, she turns. No, to be fair, like, she comes out with that transformation pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, vaguely cute elf girl, and then she turns into this.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, fair.
Yeah.
by the way, that was where the hidden box was, above those two metal boxes.
Oh my God. So rude.
And I say it's more my fault since the game has been conditioning me to, like, check above those places, but I haven't.
Yeah, no, that is fair.
Yeah.
Dun.
I just scrolled past like a deviant art, like one of those randomly generated memes that's like, what if him/her on one side, some action, and then him/her on the other side. It's like, what if this character like went on a date with this character? It's like, what if him/her got married to him/her? And I was like immediately like, oh, okay, they're like bi gender.
Good for them.
By gender. And I know that is not the meaning of it.
Oh, yeah. But
It is
like,
not at all what this means.
yeah, that's it. It's hard.
Gender free marriage.
Yippee. But yeah, no. Oh yeah, I was reading some older like piece of text. I forgot what exactly, but it had like, the him/her for every time. It talked about
Yeah.
like he or she, like maybe like an old rulebook or something. Oh yeah, it was D&D thing, and
It
I
was
couldn't
D&D.
help but think, but of like, man, they should have just used they. Like
would've been so
people
much-
were using they anyway. Like it's not like that was
it
unheard
has
of.
long since been a completely standard, like, gender
Third-person
neutral
pronoun.
Like, you
Yeah.
just use it.
Yeah, because it brings so much attention to itself when you write out he/she, him, slash her every single time. Like that, it just brings so much attention to itself. I think some books like D&D Third Edition and no, I think Pathfinder would sometimes swap between the pronouns, and that helps a bit. I don't know. I still couldn't help but think you could have just wrote they, but okay. Better than just first or second edition AD&D being he/she, whatever, your character, whatever you do with he/her, it's this is obnoxious to read. Why would you write it like this?
God.
Please.
And early editions of D&D insisted on using him.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. It's scary.
Because females don't play role-playing games with me, said
Facts.
Gary Gygax. It's like, Gary, they're not playing with you for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I talked about before, but there is a whole sort of zine that really helped popularize D&D in the sci-fi fantasy space, especially with war gamers, and a lot of people that eventually became developers in their own right got started talking about game mechanics while discussing the various issues with early D&D. And her name was Lee Gold, which is a really cool name, by the way. But once Gary met her at a convention, and Gary met her, oh, are you oh, are you Gold?
Wife?
Yeah, it's oh no, it's I'm Lee Gold. And he's just you're a woman? And she's sure am. And then he just repeats
what's
it.
your comeliness stat? I need to know how comely you are. I don't actually know what Gary Gygax sounds like, and I'm just giving him this awful voice. I'm sorry.
I mean, he kind of deserves it. He's kind of the worst. The fact that,
Oh my
hey,
God,
this is a
realizing
woman
Woody Allen
popularizing.
voice for him.
Oh my god.
That's worse than he deserves, actually. I'm sorry,
Yeah?
Gary Gygax. That's too far for. I have taken mocking you too far.
Yeah?
Nobody should be compared to Woody Allen.
Oh yeah. God.
90% complete. You're gonna have to go for 200% completion. No, you got to go in the parallel world where everything's
Oh.
upside down.
So that is the thing
Unfortunately, that's Crash 4.
the end
It's a thing
version
in
speeches.
more than one game. This is
Yeah, true. But yeah, I know Crash 4 explicitly has the backwards levels.
Yeah.
But God, yeah, still imagine being that sexist. It's oh, this is the person popularizing my game to the masses, getting people to talk about it, and have active discussions about it and everything. And you find out that Lee Gold is a woman, and your first response is to just be you're a woman? Just multiple times, because she said it the first time. No, he said it. She's yep, sure am. And then he just keeps going with, you're a woman? And it's okay, and just leaves. Because, Christ, what do you even say to that? And Oh, and once he actually got pissed off at the zine because he's like, "Oh, how dare people, judge my game design? They wouldn't know game design. They're just, they're just critics.
Yeah.
They're not actual game designers." And then a lot of like the people there became like his competition, and they were serious competition. But like
Because-
just a lot of things happened.
Would not change the parts of his game design weren't good.
Yeah. God,
There's
and
a lot of craft with first edition, you know?
especially like God, sorry, it's just it's annoying to talk about because they changed the name for marketing reasons, but like the first D&D, which there's a YouTuber who says its full subtitle every single time because it's funny, but I don't remember it. Was originally like basically an add-on for Chivalry, and needed those rules, but they kind of kept adding stuff to it, and then eventually there was first edition, advanced, AD&D first edition, and then basic and all that noise, which is God. They really put so many editions out. But yeah, that one was a mess in so many ways, and like how the original was a mess too, because it was the first of its kind, and then straight up, like, oh, obviously a DM should make like, 5 or 6 like huge dungeons, and we're not going to give the rules to how to do that. Obviously, you know how to do that already, but it's like,
Obviously.
this is the first dungeon crawl.
This is the first game that had this mechanic, and you're like going, yeah, everyone knows how to do this.
Yeah, and it's like,
Nowadays, you might be able to get away with doing that. It's like, you know what a dungeon crawl is.
why? Like, here's some
When D&D
resources.
First Edition came out, you did not know what a dungeon crawl was.
Yeah.
It was not a trope that existed.
So it's just, yeah, you can do that. And it's like, Gary, I know it's you, but surely, you must, why did you think to do it like this? Also, that was a cheap death.
Yeah. Also, that one person you mentioned earlier put out a video about Tunnels and Trolls 5th edition.
Oh, yeah, the YouTuber. Oh, that's neat. I know that was one of the games that came out of people talking about D&D's weird rules and like, hey, what if we made our own game? And several did. And it's funny because nowadays we're like, oh, D&D is like the most successful tabletop like role-playing game like ever. And like that wasn't always the case. It's easy to believe it was, but it really wasn't. But a lot of things went right for them, and a lot of things went wrong for their competition. Like there was, the RuneQuest game that came out. That was really serious competition, but then I think after the 2nd edition made by Chaosium, like the person who owned the rights to the setting bailed to work on like his own game. So they had to do a whole bunch, the whole bunch of weirdness of like giving it to another like company to work on, and then like they're making their own setting from that, and etc. Like, God, I can't remember what other things happened for D&D. I know a lot of things happened. It was a whole deal. That said, though, it's deeply fascinating, some of the games that came out from like, okay, I guess I'm pivoting towards like the early tabletop RPG space, where like there's some really fascinating things that happened during that. Like one of the some guy in like the early like was part of the early playtest for first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and was like, or maybe even the original. I don't know, the original D&D, I think, and was like, wait, you're telling me you can make a game where you can play around in the narrative and like, play around in the narrative space and explore that? Like, oh shit, you can do some really amazing stuff with that, and decided to make a game based on his own like setting that he was sitting on for decades, and it was always a niche product. Like not a lot of people got into it. It was really dense, but like it's still a really interesting thing that came about. Like the first person to realize, like, wait, we can use these things for narrative storytelling. Like, oh shit! Like he was like the first guy to really hop on that, which is nuts. Yeah, y'all. Sorry for taking the stage here for a moment, but yeah, yeah. Actually, let me find out what that game was, because I know it's like, if I okay, his game system, Wikipedia. Where is it? I know the list of like the early like games. I'm just trying to find them. History.
Yeah. The long and short of it is, don't feel you need to play D&D for any story you're telling. There's still baggage from early editions in there. You can just pick up weird indie RPGs by often queer creators, and they will have some, you know, great ways to actually run an RPG in them.
Yeah.
Check itch.io, it's absolutely full of them.
Oh god, just check out
Oh, yeah?
audio in general.
Yeah, just check itch.io. Play every single horror game, visual novel, and, you know, any game where you're being chased through your house by your evil granny. You're all destined to become classics.
Yeah. God.
I still don't really understand how granny games became a thing, but like, sure, I guess, mascot horror. But like, oh, so semi-regular guest Acid Harbinger is making a like horror, not quite visual novel, but like RPG Maker game that has dating sim elements, and I'm like, listen, this would clean up on itch. You have to make this.
Oh yeah.
The pipes that instantly send you to heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Oh God.
Yeah.
Kids.
oh dear. But oh yeah, the name of the game I was talking about, that was like basically, I think actually was like the first to be like, wait, we can do narrative storytelling with a role playing game. Was it's called Takumel, I think. Yeah, Takumel's Fantasy. Yep, a fantasy world created by the American linguistic writer M.A.R. Barker, and it's like, yeah. Oh, okay, the game was called Empire of the Petal Throne. That was published, initially self-published in 1974, and he later wrote like 5 books in the series, you know, based on the setting. And it's wild that it's like this was like a guy who got involved in the playtest of D&D. It was like, wait, you know, like he kind of like, it feels obvious now, right? But like again, at first off, you have like Gary Gygax, who's just like, oh, you're just sort of, you know, generic fantasy guys based on the fantasy I like.
His take was always, oh, well, you're just individual guys in an army that you would make for chainmail.
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, hey, wait a second, if we are these individual guys, we're like characters in a fantasy novel. And Gary Gygax, now that I remember, I do actually know what he sounds like from that Futurama episode. I'm still like probably gonna give him a condescending, awful voice if I ever
Yeah.
do say anything from him again. It's like, yeah, he's like, he's like, well, I guess you could do that. But like, there's this gigantic like influence of role-playing games on fantasy novels, not just in like the types of stories people ended up telling. It's like, oh yeah, of course you'd go dungeon crawling in this fantasy world in every novel ever written since then. But also like people going, oh, this D&D campaign was good, I'll write a fantasy novel based on it. And you can see so many stories that are just that.
Yeah.
And not even necessarily ones in like a D&D licensed setting.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Like there was. Oh, go ahead, James.
I accidentally caused the hordes of hell to open up. Better make a game about it.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time where it's just openly people were like, "Oh, hey, here's a write-up of our like campaign, I forget the exact term for it, but that was like a fairly popular thing in some scenes where it's like, oh man,
Yeah.
like we got this great story out of playing this, and you know we have shout out to Record of Lodas for literally being that, and then I think eventually the people who made that made their own game that was more narrative focused called Sword something. Sword Fantasy?
Oh, wait, those pipes
No.
don't hurt.
Fantasy.
Sword World?
Those don't send you. So world, yeah. Let me.
The world of swords.
Swords.
It's made of swords. A
Sword.
humble sword maiden.
Yeah. So it
Bracket,
is Sword World
Sword is
RPG.
also a girl. Goes on a quest to rescue the sword princess.
Nice.
Her sword for.
Oh man, I just remembered another OVA we can watch for OVA.
Oh no. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I forget the name, but
Oh no. You didn't
But-
remember it then.
there is the Lady Elf Barbarian
Yeah?
girl.
Oh,
Bard?
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
and like she has like
He's
a
like, yeah.
sword
bard, right?
person and also like a cat person.
Yeah,
and
that
a
is
dog
record
person.
of Lotus Bard.
Ah, okay.
But yeah,
Straight up, this is the record of Lotus War. James, this is the anime you were describing.
well, no, because it's a goofy anime.
Hmm.
I suppose there's probably another. I don't want to just search anime cat girl. That is not going to give me any
Oh, no.
useful result.
Well, she's not a cat girl. She's an elf girl.
Okay.
No,
That's
we would
giving
have
me
to
no
search for it.
Net
That does not
zero
narrow it down.
information, James. Thanks. I'm searching for a fancy OVA with an elf in it.
God, I guess we can add, those who what, hunt elves or whatever. Then again, that was all a mess in its own right. 100%.
These were messes. Like,
Oh,
let's
yeah.
be real.
True. But
Looks
also,
like your collectathon is going well.
you did it.
You're supposed to detail it there. You did it.
Laugh.
100%.
Stormy Ascent. No, later.
Yeah.
Right now we do the Great Hall.
The
Very good
last
call.
1%. It's at least an adequate haul.
Well, we have to beat Crash for this.
Yeah.
Huh. Weird.
Force masked.
Force mask.
Did Crash Bandicoot.
God. Also, no, I bet, I know there's some visionaries in this field due to following someone who occasionally posts that sort of stuff, but, I can't help but think of, if I hear the term force mask, what do you even do with that? Come on, sport, we're gonna play, we're gonna play ball
on.
in the field.
Listen, that's just some of our childhoods, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, but it's like, yeah, it's like
I
it's
mean, I
hard to
guess
think of it.
there probably are things at work that, like, I don't know, because it's not something I've ever cared to learn.
Yeah, for obvious reasons, but I'm like, for like an academic sense, I'm like, how would that like work? Like, okay, like what could be like sexy potentially in
mean-
that regard? And it's like, I guess wrestling, like wearing the leotards and wrestling, like you have something there. Jock straps. I know some people are into that. We're gonna play ball. We're gonna no it rugby. Fuck it. There's that maybe or football. Like you could probably make that gay.
No?
Oh,
Forward to kitty. Alright, I can't do that.
they did
Okay.
it. They escaped.
Yeah.
So
Right.
ruins of Castle Cortex and Riesma. Big and tall shop on the island. Okay. 8 years of Dr. Rue went on to write a relative book through the eye of the vortex, a study of rapid evolution and its consequences. What? Oh, I think that's what what's his face?
The epilogues, Ripperoo, yeah.
Motion picture deal of universal proportions. Oh, I get it, because Universal kind of owned the rights to Crash.
Yeah. He now owns and operates a citywide sanitation company. Yeah, totally, just a legit businessman.
Tending bar. World has heard nothing more of Cortex since Crash foiled his plans, but his evil geniuses are harder to be squashed than cockroaches. It's funny because Crash 2 pretty much starts immediately after the ending of the first game.
Yeah, but to be fair, they were giving some space.
Yeah.
They're being a bit silly with it, but like, I'm pretty sure Ripperoo is canon though. Like, or like Doctor Roo. Like,
Yeah.
in the next game, I think he does have like the the diplomacy cap or whatever. Not diplomacy. You know what I'm talking about. Like, when you get your diploma. The graduation
Oh,
cap.
yeah.
That's the term.
I see. It's like a dunce cap? What?
Not a dunce cap. Yeah, no, like he did graduate. He has that little guy has a degree. He will still jump around and have a boss fight with explosives, though.
Yeah.
He just does that for love of the game.
Yeah, it's like, hey man, you got to have a hobby.
Yeah.
And if you do the things that you love, you will never work a day in your life.
Said the liar.
Yeah. Like, I'm doing things that I love, and have worked too many days in my life.
Ah, wow. That's a tricky one.
Yeah. God, you know what? I'm still thinking back on it, and it's so funny that like they got rid of Tanya. Great, I forgot how to pronounce her name. Like, whatever, everyone jumps between the different pronunciation, but Tanya, or whatever, because of like, I think of like Sony Japan was like, hey, introduce a little sister character. Like, we don't like her, and it's like, what do you mean you don't like her? You could she could change up. Like, they were planning on making her like the tech character in the sequel until they got the message like, hey, we don't like her, and it's like, come on, like, you could do something with that, and be like, okay, his character initially made to be like eye candy, but what if she got to be the science type or something? Like,
What if we turned her into Miles Tails Prower? Like, conceptually, not literally.
Yeah. And it's like weird that it like took so long for basically her to come back, but an alternate universe version of her. It's like, come on, let her do stuff. You can do that, please.
Ow, fuck.
Aw, no, that sucks.
Interesting how vertical the level is.
Oh yeah.
God, they give you like no time.
Yeah, that sounds rude.
Yeah, it's the thing is, this isn't even likely to kill you. It's just annoying.
Yeah. With the trick there, just
Sorry.
doing short jumps.
So, is the game actually running faster than it was before, or am I just like
No, it's
having a weird internet connection issue or dissociating in a weird way? I don't know.
It's
There are
running
points where
normally.
you seem to be jumping very quickly, like and rapidly in succession, like more than I thought you could do. And I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, is this either a technical issue on my end, or I'm just, like tripping balls at this point? Which, to be fair, given the like complete lack of sleep I've had this week, probably is
no.
actually the case. Just
Yeah.
like, looking at it and perceiving it moving faster than it is.
well,
No, I think I'm getting some of that. It might be an
Alright, so I'm not completely imagining it.
yeah.
It's been pretty much moving the same.
Yeah, no, it seems to be more of a perception thing, but like, we're
Oh,
seeing it moving.
I think
all
maybe
the way
on
back.
Discord it has
It could be
some like
Discord,
stuttering,
yeah, stuttering and
where it's like
buffering
then
for,
sometimes it
frames
catches
in a
up.
weird way.
Yeah.
But again, like, if this was just me mildly dissociating, I'd go, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. If you're wondering, yeah, I am gonna take, like, sleep medication a few minutes from now, so that I'll hopefully be able to knock myself out for the next couple of hours.
That's good.
I'm just not taking it now because otherwise we'll not necessarily be sleepy, but I will be slightly out of it before the end of the stream if I take it right now.
Hmm.
Like, sometimes I get only the negative effects of this.
Yeah.
But like, I'm tired enough. This is probably gonna knock me out.
That's good.
Yeah, this isn't even what I'm going to see a doctor about.
Oh.
'Cause I'm still waiting on literally anything about my ADHD, my debilitating sleep disorder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh.
No, but as I have mentioned, possibly on the stream, actually
Oh,
going to talk
fuck.
to NHS about, you know, properly transitioning instead of doing my whole weird grey market thing. Wow, you've really threaded the needle on all of those. That, I mean, it's built to do that, but like, yeah, you fell down the whole tower there.
Yeah. But also, yeah, good luck with
Yeah. Yeah.
you ever been on HRT, but yeah, getting some
I'm
extra
already on
practice if you need it.
HRT. I'm just gonna say, hey, listen, man, I'm gonna be taking this anyway. you can prescribe it to me, or you can say, "Oh, we don't prescribe that."
Yeah. Uh,
Like, those are your options.
no, now it. God, I still remember in the BB Gun Show server being surprised. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but like still surprised of just like, oh, testosterone is just straight up illegal,
Yeah,
like
it is.
without prescription. Yeah, it's just it is not a gray market. If
It
you were
is
to
a
just get it
black
from somewhere
market.
else, it would be black market. And I'm like, oh, it's because of sports, isn't it? It is
Because it's
because
a
of sports.
performance-enhancing drug. 'Cause yeah, it's steroids. Quite literally, that's what that is.
Yeah, but it's still like whack because it's like, man, there's people who want to transgender. Who gives a fuck about sports?
Like, you can't even say, okay, I'm not gonna do sports then, because then they'll go, no, you're gonna get an advantage somehow by being
Somewhere.
somewhere. Yeah, it's such stupid rhetoric. It's the the whole thing about, oh, actually, trans people are unmatchable superhuman athletes and geniuses, and it's not fair on everyone else. And it's like, huh? How is it transitioning in either direction gives you an advantage?
Yeah.
And somehow the same advantage? You'd think it wouldn't? It doesn't. Yeah, I am getting the, like, Coco... Is that Coco, or is this...
Yeah, that's Coco.
Like, she has the zoomies. She's pausing and then just zooming forward very quickly.
Oh, that may be a connection thing then on your
Yeah, it
end.
could be a connection thing, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, everything else that I can see at the moment is moving at normal speeds, so I'm just like, yeah, this is probably the connection.
I was having weird
Oh, dear.
connection issues earlier, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it kind of unrelated, sort of related, maybe if you squint. God, shout out to Mary. Give me the hookup for the last actually stable version of Discord on Android. Because oh my
Yeah.
God, it's like night and day. The only problem it
really
has is
is.
that it doesn't always get notifications. Like,
The actual problems I have are, this is before they added polls, and this is before they added some of the emotes, so it does mean that sometimes I don't actually see posts that people are making, and also for forwarding, but that's less of a thing.
oh yeah,
The thing is, I'd gladly trade all of those for an app that doesn't take a solid second to change channels. Like, you can do it really rapidly in the, like, Android optimized one that they stopped doing because they're like, oh, we're just gonna have only the iOS code base.
yeah.
And so you end up with an app that runs fine on iPhones and is torturously slow on anything else. And then, like, I'm not buying an iPhone to use Discord. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna use the ancient APK from like 3 or 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah, but like there'd be. Oh,
It's
it's
not
so
even
good.
illegal to have this. It's just not intuitive where you can get it from.
Yeah. It's so good to actually be able to swap to different servers or channels, because there'd be times where I would go to another server and it just wouldn't for like minutes or longer, where I had to close and open the
Yeah.
app several times and then it still wouldn't.
You
And then an
get
hour
why
later try. It's
every
like,
time I've tried updating to the most recent version, I've gone, wow, this sucks, and reinstalled that.
yeah. No, excuse me, I had to go to the guy naming the server to add the cheat item of potion that sends you to heaven.
Directly.
Yeah.
In Lobotomy Corporation, there is a damage type that attacks your soul directly. It's pale damage. I guess those potions do pale damage.
You're cutting out there.
Ah, crap. In Lobotomy Corporation, there is a damage type that attacks the character's soul directly, and that's like pale damage.
Yeah, that sounds about right for real Lobotomy Corporation.
Yep.
Hell, yeah.
And like
So
they
we already had a magic wand that sent you to heaven. That's just a 12 gauge shotgun. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess those potions do pale damage.
Yeah. God. Oh, man, I don't remember everything about it, but shame to hear. I know there's something up about like women workers being mistreated by the lobotomy core devs, which is a shame because I wanted to get into it, but like,
Yeah, that is a shame. Oh no.
oh,
Sent to heaven.
Up.
huh. Well, I guess you get to skip a little bit, though.
Speedrun strats.
You gotta know when to hold them, gotta know when to fold them, and then you die in your sleep. Right? We're speedrunning getting to heaven, right?
Never count your money, or you're sitting at the table with time enough for counting.
Speed
When the dealing starts.
life speed run any percent clip into traffic when during birth.
Oh no!
It's like a Tumblr post I remember.
Yeah, oh dear.
Never do the any percent run.
Never do it. God. No, oh no, thinking about like how would you get a better time on the any percent run of life than I just remembered Steins Gate and sending a text message to your mother in the past. And it's like, oh no. Like, speedrun, convince your mom in the past to just somehow never give birth to you.
Run. Oh man,
Yeah?
you're absolutely. There is a post in that, like, transition speed run. Send a message to your parents in the past to conceive you at a different time.
If only you had B parents. Well, parents, technically.
Yeah.
Well, okay, B's are complicated.
Oh yeah, bees. You know, it's hip. No. Enough of that. But yeah, God, I mean, a lot of nature is actually really complicated. Like, I know there's a species of bird that effectively has like 4 genders or something like that. Because it's like classically, it's like, oh, there's the man and the woman, but there's also like the male one that looks like the female birds that like kind of like hang out and like they're and like it's scientifically shown like, oh, their presence actually improves like the the mating pairs of like these birds in a weird complex like social like order sort of deal. And it's like it's like nuts. That time it had a death floor.
Yeah.
Uh, so this is something that I'm like thinking of because of the the transition speedrun joke that we just did. So right now I'm in the middle of reading a sci-fi novel from the 80s, I think. Yeah, it must be. One of the culture novels called The Player of Games. I've I've made jokes before about this. This is where the boy who secretes gamer juice that makes him better at gaming. Like that's the main character of that book. That's who I'm talking about. Like anyway, gamer boy bathwater aside. So there's a bit where he's like he's in a high stake game tournament with aliens who like don't have the whole like transhuman like ultra evolved body that he has that uh like basically like this culture they base everything on their game like their great game that is all encompassing and like at one point like he's challenged basically by someone trying to intimidate him into leaving the tournament. It's like, yes, we will wager our masculinity or whatever. It's like, yeah, if you lose, you'll have your balls cut off. And he's like, that's stupid. They'll grow back. What?
What?
I mean, yeah, I accept your wager. And the thing is, like, yes, they will just grow back because he has that upgrade to his body, and it's like you can't let them know that you can do that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not a culture that is ready for this yet. The thing is, like, as a transhuman setting, like, they're like, yeah, the culture actually don't have pronouns as we understand it. They just go by whatever they want. Who cares? And it's like it's a like cultural translation, just to give like he or she pronouns for the characters in that society, just as we would probably recognize them now. And I'm like, okay, sure. Like,
Yeah.
it is literally there's an author's note in the middle of the text going, hey, like, this is a society which technically doesn't have any genders at all. They just change whenever they want. There's a character who is very much male presenting, but who occasionally just decides to be a woman for a couple of years and have more kids. And he has like 20 kids at this point.
Oh God.
He just loves being a parent, and it's like, yeah, good for him.
So many kids.
But like the alien species that they're interacting with has specifically 3 genders, and it's like a translation note to say, okay, this is how these pronouns are being handled. But it's just genuinely like kind of funny looking back at this and going, yeah, actually, there's like stuff here that like it's this is oddly progressive, and then there's completely insane stuff where it's like, as I said, the like bet of like their body parts. It's like, well, of course they'd grow back. Why wouldn't they? And it's like, what are you talking about?
Again, progressive.
Yeah, and the main character, like, basically he said, oh yeah, he said to me, oh yeah, he's the only cis het person in this entire like culture. He has never changed his gender, which everybody in that society does. And the thing is, he actually reads more as someone who just doesn't care about gender.
Yeah.
Like, if you said, oh, he's an agender character, then I'd just go, yeah, sure. But it's just the like, there's obviously stuff that you look back and go, oh yeah, this is a bit eyebrow raising, but like, for its time, mostly a progressive portrayal of this kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
It's just somehow I have actually gotten through most of this novel in the last few days. despite having no attention span, so
Nice.
which is going to give me an absolutely deranged reading list if I like recap what I've read this year.
Yeah. Mood.
Oh no,
Oh no.
you're not even going to heaven that time.
No, BRB. Let me get some water and stuff.
Ah, there. And this acts as a checkpoint, so... Oh, that's gonna be tricky. Huh. Yeah, that... Huh. Unless I'm supposed to hit, like, another... Oh yeah, I was. So, there is that. Okay, how many 22. That's quite a bit. Nice. Not nice. Too early. God, it feels like it should be another second on those boxes.
The topic of conversation in this stream really is like ADHD chat, huh?
Yep.
It's like every single topic that we've jumped to is more bizarre than I thought. They hadn't finished rendering yet.
Ah, Jesus. Okay. Oh, rude. Oh boy. This is one tough folk bonus round. Ugh. Man, embryos sure did make these like as hard as possible. ISO Bandicoot. Oh, another checkpoint right there. Devs gave some mercy on this level by having checkpoints every 5 feet.
Yeah. Crash Bandicoot, no mercy, man.
Oh, right. Ah. So close. Yeah, I like that one. Because doing it right feels like one solid motion.
Hi. I actually ended up taking care of some things for the cat and stuff, but meow meow.
Take
I
care
s-
of cats. That's why you're
Yeah.
the kitty cat herder.
Yep. God, I forgot that this level's long and difficult.
Yeah, they took it out of the OG release for a reason.
Yeah, the reason they took it out of the original release wasn't the difficulty, it was the fact that the song, induced insanity in kids playing it because they could hear the secret notes. They changed everything after the first version.
Of course.
But anyway, it induced what was called Crash Bandicoot Syndrome. Yeah, Lavender Town Syndrome was such a weird concept when you get down to it.
Yeah.
I know, every creepypasta gets weird.
But yeah, some have like just the initial premise can be like, wait, really? God. Also, oddly enough, when I was getting back here, I just suddenly remembered the song "Stargazer" by Rainbow. Really fun, like metal, like ballad type song, like about like someone who was enslaved in like this oppressive like society where a warlord that claimed to be a wizard had like his workers build a massive tower for years and years, and then he ascended to the top. They all thought he was gonna jump jump off the top of the tower and fly, but he just hits the ground. And it's such a good song. But all but
I believe he was the first victim of Lavender Town Syndrome.
Where God, it's I don't know how to like try to make that fit into the lyrics, but my brain's tried and failing. Such a good song. Like, no, I need to just fuck it, post it here in the YouTube chat because it's good. Where is your star? Is it far? Is it far? Like, God, it's so good. And also, like, it's both something that's like, oh, that's, kind of high concept, but also this is really simple. If you, like, if you just take it, like, completely face value and don't think about the symbology of any of it, then it's like, oh, like like apartment complex. I find it like to me it's quite simple sort of like deal going on here if you get really silly with it. Yeah, fuck it. Also posting in the YouTube chat because it's a good song if you like big ass or long ass like metal ballad type songs. And it
I
has
do,
Ronnie James Dio as the singer, so it's like
yeah,
it's good.
sure. I'll listen to it at some point. Not right now, we're in the middle of a stream.
Yeah, oh, my
I'm
little
just
yeah.
distracted making a stupid post.
No, I think Crash Bandicoot would be immune to Lavender Town syndrome. I don't.
Yeah.
I think, and only him, and maybe Ripperoo. I think those would be the only characters I can imagine
For
completely
computers,
immune
like,
to it.
yeah, that's normal, man.
Yeah,
Like,
he's fine.
it's like anyone else having weird thoughts after hearing that song, and Ripper is like, no, I feel exactly the same.
Yeah,
And you're like, well, okay, you know, must be fake, and it's like, guys, we can't trust Ripper's opinion.
yeah.
Yeah, back to making utterly deranged posts that I will never explain.
Why explain it? It's cool.
School.
School.
Oh, it was lurchy there for threw off my timing.
You got this.
Damn it.
Close. Oof.
Alright, so one of the songs that I posted recently, the one with those voice samples from The Invisible Man, like a friend on another server went, yeah, this sounds like you've made a pretty good boss theme for an off fan game. And no, this wasn't Acid that said this, and I'm like, you know what,
Impressive.
like, I can see that. And then like I made a like basically what would be the equivalent like level theme for it. Because I'm like, hey, wait a second, I got all the instruments set up and everything, and I can keep some bits of it and change around the rest of it, and basically remix it down into a level theme. It's a slightly different vibe to, you know, the one that I already posted, but you know, just posting it in gun show chat.
Nice.
Oh man, when my stream gets the zoomies, I'm just like, man, this is actually really disorienting.
Oh no.
Alright, I'm just gonna not look directly. Actually, I could do the thing of just minimizing it. That means it's not so distracting.
Yeah.
So I did actually float the idea with Acid, hey, let's make an off-fan game. It doesn't need to be a fancy one, but it's just like, let's get used to using game making software. Let's make an RPG Maker at least demo.
Yeah.
And the explanation I got, okay, I want to make this game that is, well, it'd take too long to explain. You'll have
Oh,
to play
no.
through off first. And I went, oh no.
No.
Acid, you cannot be setting me homework. And I will play through off someday. I'm just like, my brain is not in the right state for that right now.
Yeah. I also need to play through that game as well. I started it, then got distracted. But yeah, yeah, you need to... Yeah. Need to work on something smaller.
Yeah, I'm like, listen, I respect you are actually trying to make it specifically a fan game for OFF, but I also don't know anything about OFF, having only played like a quarter of it years ago.
Yeah?
I've beaten it.
Yeah,
Nice.
James, we're all aware when you beat OFF. Like you always post in servers every time you beat it, and it's like I've never played the game. There's a game called that.
Da-da-da.
Hey.
God damn! What is the timing on those birds?
Oh no.
So
What is the
far,
timing on these birds?
If I'm the one making the soundtrack for it, it's not gonna be like, what would you even call the genre that off music is? I want to
I
say
have no idea.
electro swing, but it's not quite the same as that. It's something adjacent to that.
Yeah, that's fair.
But like, no, you're getting dark synth. That's all I'm
Oh, yeah?
going to make for you. No, I
Good.
can make other types of music. I'm just like, this is
mean-
what I'm enjoying making right now.
Yeah, and it fits with like the off, of like it can totally fit, especially for like a small little demo inspired by off. It doesn't even need to be a whole
I was
fan game.
genuinely
It's just
trying to
inspired
fish
by it.
for, hey, like, describe a boss fight in the game, I will make music for it. And is that I get, well, you'll need to play for all of off for this to make sense. And I'm like, listen, I do respect the hustle here, but I'm not going to do that right now. Because that is... I know it's a good game, but it's also one I'm gonna have to, like, knuckle down and actually play through.
Oh yeah.
That's a whole different prospect then. Alright, here's this design, or here's this, like, concept art, or even just a vague description of, yeah, I want the boss fight to have this kind of vibe to it, and I go, okay, I can do that. I do not know, like, the metaphysics of the world of off.
Yeah.
Why is my
Which-
timing game so thrown off?
I mean, to be honest, maybe because of like fatigue. 'Cause this is a long like endurance run of a level.
Yeah.
If I
Does it
screen-
respawn? No. Because, but yeah, that's something I've come to think about with like fandom spaces and works at
Yeah.
times where it's like, like I've heard while hanging out in the the Children Hate Squad group chat, which it's fun being there.
I know
but
it's just called that. That's just the
Yeah,
name.
that's just the
It's an
name.
Undertale Yellow fandom server.
Oh, it's just a group chat with like
chat,
4
okay.
people, right? Including us in the company. But it's like
You make a server. It means you don't have to ping everyone every time you talk.
fair.
Like, also,
but
you can make silly
yeah.
emotes.
yeah.
I
but-
know. Anyway, go on.
But yeah, no. And it's interesting hearing about some like mod or something that like I've never played. Like there's a mod called Undertale Red and Yellow, where it like like Frisk
You
also
put red
has
in Undertale Yellow.
yeah, you get the 2 different Pokemon. You get like Clover like in like also like narrating things with you in Frisk like head or whatever. It's also interesting to hear like how like out of character it is and other things, and it just makes this fascinating seeing fans turning to other fan works and like kind of treating them as canon,
Yeah.
right? Because you see that a lot where it's just something that's really influential and then people treat it as if oh, this is just part of like the initial work, when it isn't. It's doing its
really
own
isn't.
thing. Yeah, especially like Undertale Yellow, it's doing quite a bit of its own thing.
Yeah, and
Like-
that's not necessarily bad, but it's like, if you're trying to shove this back into the original canon, of course you're going to run into some friction.
Oh yeah. Like, and like more thinking about it, like that happens like quite a lot with fan games, and it's just like I guess to go back to Undertale, like Yellow specifically, like it could have done its own, like for some of the endings, especially the true pacifist, it could have just did its like sort of own thing where it's like, okay, what if Clover doesn't die or whatever? What if like they're just hiding out there, and then like Frisk comes along at some point, and like that causes some upset, like it's like and then you get to like cut from there, right? Because it feels weird to just have Clover just die at the end, and every adult be like, this is for the best, and it's like they wouldn't say that actually. Like, hey, that feels weird to just have like all these like adults hanging out with Clover be like, yes, the one meme of the guy with the lightning eyes.
You
I forget.
Kill
Kill
yourself.
yourself.
No.
No.
That's Low Tier God.
Low tier god.
Is
Yeah.
A streamer, the competitive gamer. I don't know, but like he obviously does a whole smack talk thing, and one of the most famous ones, those being, of course, telling his opponents they should kill themselves.
God. Obnoxious.
It's obnoxious, but like out of context, it is admittedly very funny.
Yeah. Like, I can't lie and say
That's
this
his
then.
gamer persona, and I'm like, you know what? Sure, I don't know
Yeah.
how much he is like that outside of that context.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh. But, yeah, no, cause, like, God, fandom spaces are fascinating in a lot of ways, especially, like, depending on how involved, specifically in the fandom, for whatever, fandom we're talking about, like, a person is. Cause it's like, sometimes I hear stuff like, oh man, I can't, like, talk about this, or, like, the truth fans doesn't eat me alive, and just, I'm almost like, no, maybe I should post that, because I don't, like, they can say whatever they want, I don't care. and like someone's like, oh, like because it's like, oh man, I'm upset that Until Yellow doesn't treat this, like doesn't treat this tragedy like a full-on tragedy. It's like, oh, actually, he's a good guy. Where it's like, no, that's part of the tragedy. He's a guy who wants to be a great guy, who wants a great legacy, but like mistreats the people closest to him because it gets in the way of his cool legacy of being the savior for his whole people, whatever. Like this made messiah complex, and it's like, oh, you could have like leaned into that, but Undertale Yellow was like, no, like no, actually he's still a pretty good guy, and it's like, no, like you can't, like come on, you almost had something really cool going, and then you walk backwards from that. Other than, oh, maybe he wasn't that great, and like, no, he was terrible. Like, it's not that he wasn't great, he was a terrible guy, but like terrible the way a lot of like husbands can be, which is horrifying. But like, and helps build up the pathos for that like relationship with like Saroba, and like you almost had something really cool, but you dipped away from it.
So, yeah, we'll have to resolve that by making an Undertale game called Rolls Dice Undertale Green and Purple?
Green and purple.
Green and Purple. Green
Undertale
and purple.
Joker. Oh shit.
Driving around in a fancy oh no, you're making it about Joker. Let's go.
The Jockster falls into the underground. He's like, but it's specifically the pyro version. So it's like, oh my god.
Fucking.
Oh man, I'm seeing Coco get the zoomies again. I'm actually having to close my eyes.
God.
Okay.
Good job.
Good job. Round of applause. Yeah. Double applause.
102%.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting
Oh.
the fucking the what's it called?
Yeah. Time trial.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be hellish. Especially for some. Well, then, no, it'd still be hellish. Because
into
to
the
get-
Cortex Blin.
Hooray.
Hey, certain energy bolts can be deflected back at him. I wonder if there's a Crash Bandicoot.exe game.
Oh my god.
It's exactly the same.
Crash Bandicoot.exe. Yeah, this looks exactly like how I'd expect it to. How does it play?
Hmm.
Oh, okay, it's actually a 3D game.
Huh.
Or in the same way that Crash Bandicoot is. It's not just like Sonic meets Spidey.
Oh wait, god, there really is a Crash Bandicoot.exe with thread eyes and everything. I was almost gonna joke that like I can't imagine like there being a Crash Ghost or whatever who's like actively evil. I think he'd just be a stoner. I think like Crash Bandicoot would be straight edge until he died, and then he'd be like, now I can smoke weed. And it's just like he's just sort of there haunting the game and not really doing anything. Maybe some levels get more difficult because he's just like, oh hey, like I think I left a beer here, and then you just see like the spirit of Crash Bandicoot like digging around the level, poking at like the assets or whatever, and it's like, what? Like a platform disappears and goes wireframe for a second, and then you see like a beer can just embedded in there. It's kind of cool, nice. thanks for helping me find my beer, little buddy. And then, like, that's it. It just leaves. It's like, okay.
I love the implication that he learns to talk after he dies.
Yeah, he's straight edge until he dies. Then now it's
Straight
time
edge
to
until you
indulge.
die, then your
Right.
soul can drink as much beer as you like in heaven.
To do as much drugs, do as much.
You're waiting
Much
until you
pot
get
and-
to heaven to do all of the drugs at once. It's
all
like,
at once. Yeah.
yeah, what's gonna happen? Is it gonna kill you?
Exactly.
Objective: do every drug at once.
God. I'm now reminded that, like, technically Minecraft has that as an achievement. Where it's like you had to be
status effect
Right.
at
Oh my
once.
god.
once. Oh no.
Ah, fucking... No, get off of that. Okay,
Oh dear.
let me try that again. Okay.
Oh, you only have one life left.
Thankfully, it gave me 2 hits with Aku.
Yeah. No, for some reason saying you have one life you only have one life left reminded me of, like, I think the fake soap opera from either Friends or, like, yeah, I think it's probably Friends or or Futurama. The, like, one life to, like, you know, like, you have one life to live, or, you know, like, what was it? Great. I actually remembered it for a second, but just it's funny thinking about soap operas for a second, because, like, I know in, like, the U.S., like, probably some other countries, like, you know, they tend to last for, like, for fucking ever, like, for decades even, right?
One Life
When-
to Live was a soap opera, which
Oh,
indeed
one
had
life to live.
11,136 episodes.
Oh dear.
So you're probably thinking of a parody of it.
Yeah. Got it. Or maybe that one, but my brain went to the parody first. But yeah, no, because I know in, like, Latin America.
Oh, that's when it became General Hospital, of course.
Oh.
That's why it's such a long runner. Or whatever. It's... I
Yay.
think they count as the same show for episode count or something, and that's why General Hospital has 15,000 episodes.
God.
Because it has technically been running since 1963 non-stop.
Oh my God.
Like, I don't get people who watch these kind of shows, but I'm like, okay, sure, I can respect that. There's
Yeah.
a Futurama one, which I think is called It Never Ends, which is
Yeah.
like that. Futurama, It Never Ends.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I was gonna say in Latin America, they tend to actually, like, be shorter and tell more, like,
Almost.
contact, like, story.
Yes.
But also, congrats! You did it. You beat the game.
Yeah. Next Saturday.
Okay.
Looks like your collectathon is going well.
Saturday, we will be playing a game about making friends with puppets.
Hooray!
That's right, we're playing
I
My
love
Friendly
it.
Neighborhood.
Nice. Can't wait to meet all these friendly puppets, and nothing is going wrong.
Yep.
Yippee!
Can't find the Simpsons joke I was thinking of, but no, it never ends. The Simpsons one in Futurama. The soap opera they do is always All My Circuits, and I can't think of one that's. Maybe they did
All My Children? I could throw in All My Children's probably a soap opera.
All My Children is a real show that existed.
Yeah, that's probably the parody
All
then.
My Children.
Let me get this.
1970s soap opera. Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry. Let me get this straight. Everyone in this room have amnesia?
Oh yeah, that. God, I mean, thing is, there has to be a real soap opera that has done that plot, right? Like at least once. There's so many episodes. It's bound to have happened once.
I mean, that's not really how these soap operas operate. It's not like, oh, we need to do every different part. It's they reuse plots every 4 or 5 years. Just because they're like, everyone who was watching back then will either forgotten about this or just won't have watched it long enough to know that this has happened before. It's like, oh, this character has amnesia, and it's like, well, this has happened 4 times so far in the show's history.
Or the audience member
same.
gets amnesia.
Yeah. It's the same premise behind wrestling gimmicks being reused. I think there's a term for it. It's like no mahatayo or something, like no one has a memory over 3 years old or something like that. It's some complicated acronym which just means basically there's a expected turnover of people experiencing a piece of media, whether that is watching a 15,000 episode soap opera, watching wrestling every weekend, or it's like comic books reuse storylines in the same way. Especially back in the 60s and 70s, they would just reuse plots every couple of years because they expected people to age out of caring about comics. Which is why there are so many Superman covers which are telling the same story but years apart.
Huh.
Yeah. Like him killing
That's
Lois.
why there was... Yeah, they reuse that one a lot. And you go, man, how could they keep reusing that plot? And it's like, well, they reused it every 3 years. Like clockwork.
Always looks so happy killing her.
They just had a pool of stories that they would just recycle. Eventually they stopped doing that when people who grew up reading the comics went, no, I want to tell an actual story with this. And so you get convoluted comics continuity where all of it's in continuity again.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And usually they just ignored the early days where they were killing off Lois Lane every couple of years.
Yeah, which, there's something I like about how some manga handle it, where it's like, okay, we told our story, and then here's side stories or AUs or whatever of look, we don't have to make everything canon to the main story. It's fine. And it's actually funny. The one thing I can think of, I remember someone describing no, it kind of reminds them of American Cape comics is Detective Conan, because there's I think a few years ago there's 4 different manga coming out at the same time. No, 5 under 5 different manga written by 4 different authors.
Yeah.
And it's you just sort of have so many going on. When's Detective Conan joining the Avengers?
I mean,
and the X-Men. And
it could happen.
It could find a way.
You could just, if you really want to see that story, you could legitimately just make your own superhero comic and then go, yeah, I'm putting this kid detective who's the age there, and never make it explicit. It's Detective Conan.
Yeah.
Like, you can just file the numbers off. They do it all the time.
They really do, and it's also really funny with Detective Conan because like they're never gonna fucking find a cure for that kid.
Yeah.
He's always gonna be like that, like because that's a gimmick.
Yeah.
It's that's the Surf
I mean,
Dracula.
he finds
It-
temporary cures, and then he has to
Ah.
either revert them or it runs out. And they reuse that plot a fair bit,
Yep.
but there's never going to be like a final. Oh, he's cured now, and then it's just like normal age Detective Conan forever.
well, I mean, he's still like a 16-year-old or something.
He's a 16-year-old who's the age to be like what 10.
Yeah, something
I
like
don't
that.
remember the exact ages.
I love, by the way,
No,
I love how
it's
our
just-
conversations go. It's so fun.
It's ADHD.
Yeah, baby.
Curse of Dracula.
Huh?
The Curse of Dracula.
Did you say? The Curse of Dracula. No, let me. No, I'm gonna add that. I'm gonna find somewhere to put that in the guy name in chat, and then like Curse of Dracula parentheses ADHD.
I mean, spells, cheat skills. I don't know.
Fuck.
Like ADHD.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did boss battle though.
Yeah. Crash Bandicoot.exe. Crash
There is
Bandicoot, the
fake-
executable file.
Oh god, there is fake Crash Bandicoot. Who was based off a plushie that was just so off model.
Oh, that's why he looks like that?
Yeah, there's like a Japanese plushie that like was just so comedically off model that they decided to make that a character.
God. No, I don't know if you're still streaming, but I remember there was a bit in SpongeBob SquarePants in like the earlier, like the earlier parts of it, right? Where there's like, the guy dressed as like a pirate, that character. He's in a room full of like SpongeBob SquarePants, like plushies and like merch and all that. But at the time, there wasn't actually official like merch. Like it was, so all of those are just bootlegs that they bought,
Okay.
which is so funny. Of just like, wait, we don't have the official merch. Where we get it? It's like just shrugging, going to buy all the bootlegs they can find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's save this forever. And quit.
Nice.
Alright. See y'all next time.